What's going on, everyone? We're going to be talking about Senseonics today. Ticker symbol SENS, or just SENS for short. Senseonics is seeking FDA approval very shortly for their 180-day continuous glucose monitoring system. They're actually up pretty significantly today, so just don't go in there FOMO and chase. Sit through the analysis, be patient, make sure you get a nice entry, and then we can play this thing. But if you guys enjoy this type of content, make sure you hit that like on the video. Liking the video is the #1 way to help me out here on this channel. And with that being said, guys, subscribe to the channel if you're new. Let's get right into it. So as you guys can see right here, we have the Moomoo stock brokerage promotion. So thank you, Moomoo, for sponsoring this video. They have the best stock brokerage promotion by far. Not even a question. You deposit $1 on their platform, you get up to $7,000 in free stock. So it is pretty much a no-brainer, especially in this difficult market that we're seeing right now. Also, get a free share of AMC if you deposit $100 on their platform. So that is their bonus promotion, lasting only a few days. I actually believe they did extend this, though, through the end of February. But right here, it says through February 7th. But I do believe they did extend that as well. But I just think this promotion's the best, guys. $1 to get up to $7,000 in free stock. Pretty much a no-brainer. The link's below in the description or pinned comment section. And let's get into the rest of the video. So, as you guys can see right here, this was on January 5th. We got this news from Senseonics, and we can read a few different things. So, the company expects to initiate the transition to the new product in Q2 2022. That's not that far off, guys. That's not that far off whatsoever. And then they reiterated their outlook, expecting 12 to 15 million in sales, which is pretty decent. We understand that the FDA is at full capacity managing the backlog of COVID-19 related filings and creating longer than expected review timelines. We are confident a decision regarding the approval of the 180-day system will be made in the coming weeks as the FDA continues to clear out the backlog. So that could be why we haven't got this yet. This was about a month ago we got this news, and they expect it in the coming weeks. There is a backlog because of the C word, which I did not bleep out, but guess I'll have to bleep that out when I go edit the video. Senseonics continuous glucose monitoring systems, eversense and eversense XL, include a small sensor. We already know that. And then the stock price actually jumped up on this news. So the CEO expects to get FDA approval very shortly, is essentially what that is saying right there. Now, if we look at the price action, we can go to the 1 hour chart just to show you what happened on this news. So back here on January 4th, it looks like in after hours, that's when they really got that news. SENS was able to jump pretty significantly. This was a pretty significant gain from the low of the day, about 32% right there. And that was a big gain, but it has sold off ever since then without the news, and we have been rallying since then. Now, looking at this hourly chart, it is definitely a little bit overbought. And that could lead to some risk, especially because we have already peaked out throughout today's date. We peaked out right here at about 315. Now it's chilling around $3 per share. I actually bought some at $3 per share, but it was a tiny position. I'm looking to really get in around 275 if I can, and if I'm really lucky, even as low as 264, but around 275, that's where I really want to start biting on this thing. Moving into the weekly chart here in Market Cipher, this is what I really want to show you guys because we're on a negative blue wave. So just pulling up Market Cipher a little bit better, and we have 200 likes for 2-minute planks. Did not remove that from the video, but drop a like on the video anyways. So the last few times we got a green dot on the Market Cipher and minus blue wave. So minus is under this midpoint right here. It's 0, and then it goes all the way up to 100, and then all the way down to 100 as well. Down here, we got the green dot on the weekly. The last few times right here, June 1st, 2021 was the last time we got something like this in Senseonics. And then before then, it was November of 2020. If we look at the chart, November of 2020, when it got this green dot, it led to an absolute massive gain. Now remember, November 2020 was it was a time, all right? It was a time to be in the stock market. That's a 1000% gain right there. That's not something I'm looking for in this run necessarily, because it's not 2020. Let's just admit that 2022 is a completely different stock market. And then in June 2021, it had a 134% gain right there. So I'd expect something more like that from June 2021, maybe even a little bit less. But we'll see what happens. I do think we'll run up on this FDA approval. Again, guys, the last 3 times that there was a green dot to this minus side, it did turn out well. And also the green money flow is a lot stronger now than the other 2 times. So I do believe that we will do well with this trade. Another thing is the Heikin-Ashi candles. So we're looking at Heikin-Ashi candles. We're not looking at normal candles for Senseonics. Heikin-Ashi candles are momentum candles. They're algorithmically generated. They're a lot different. They play on momentum more so than normal candles. So if you see right here, it looks kind of choppy, right? It looks kind of choppy. When you move to Heikin-Ashi, you can see a lot smoother price action. So when the Heikin-Ashi candle does turn green, that's a great sign. And we've seen that there are green Heikin-Ashi candles multiple times in a row, last few times that they turned green. It wasn't just 1 week of green on the Heikin-Ashi candles. It was a few weeks, right? So we just turned green this week after 11 weeks of red on the Heikin-Ashi candles. So the longer term time frame is definitely looking pretty solid. Just on those shorter term time frames like the 1 hour, it's looking a bit overbought. But there was also a volume spike, right? And that could also be a signal that we might have some news coming. So if there is a pullback right back down to like the 280 level, we already got the signal that there might be some news coming, right? So that pullback should be eaten up, in my opinion. And this, along with the short squeeze statistics, it's number 8 on the short squeeze leaderboard right here. Moving into Fintel, you guys can see only about 500,000 shares available to be shorted. This is out of their 400,000 share float. So if we actually pull up Senseonics here, we can show you guys the float on this thing. It's pretty insane. So they have 400,000 shares in their float, or 400 million, please excuse me, and their market cap is about 1.36 billion. So they could totally move, but I'm not going to say that retail alone can move this thing. It's a bit higher of a float than I'd really want. It really needs that fundamental catalyst that we're talking about, the FDA approval of that 180-day system to really get moving. The borrow rate is not too high. We're going to be looking for that to come up, and it looks like the short volume ratios from 40 to 50% each and every single day. So pretty high in that regards. Failure to delivers, not too much yet, but that could totally change in the coming weeks. And here we have the Ortex data. What sticks out to me the most on the Ortex data is just the sheer amount of short interest. About 26% of the float is currently being shorted with a catalyst upcoming in this stock. That's about 84 million shares right there, putting us at 13 days to cover. That's an extremely high days to cover right there. So a short squeeze in this stock, if it comes, will be pretty exponential right there. It's also moving up to almost 100% utilization. If we keep trending upwards, right, like I said, the Heikin-Ashi candles on that weekly, we're looking pretty solid for a multi-week run on this. If we trend up for the coming weeks, we'll get to 100% utilization. That could also potentially bring up that cost to borrow, which will be the sign that shorts might start to cover soon, right? Because 15% cost to borrow, you needed to get it above 50, preferably above 100% for that. Moving into the options flow. Today, the options flow, if you're looking at the ask side only, it was 100% bullish, but you have to pay attention to this floor trader. I made a mistake with bbig, only looking at the ask side. You guys can see, I just got rid of the ask side. This was a multi-leg strategy, so it was actually a net bearish strategy, and they're basically betting that this goes back down to about 275. Nothing too crazy with that, but there was a lot of premium in that. It was, in fact, a credit spread. So they sold the $2.5 calls for 218 for 70 cents, and then they bought the $3 calls, which is essentially a hedge, to selling those calls, right? So essentially this trader thinks we go down from the $3 level, which is definitely reasonable. It'll give us a better entry for this trade. Also on January 31st, there was a $39,000 bet right there with a call option. So that pretty significant. And then yesterday we also got a $25,000 bet. So there are definitely some whales on this stock, but it's not super crazy. Pulling up the bid side right here, you guys can see in the end of January, we got a ton of these selling of puts. So that is also a pretty big thing right there, because selling a put is definitely a bullish strategy. Moving into the historical flow, we did get a spike up in call volume today, and there's still 2.5 hours left in the market today, and we're already rivaling the January 5th level. So again, this might be an indication that we're getting news soon on this stock. And then looking at the option chain, majority of this open interest is for February 18th, 2022. You can see right here, there's about 10,000 on the $4, 3.5, 20,000 on the 3, and then 10,000 on the 2.5 strike prices. If we go into March right here, it is completely different, a lot less premium, no more than like 3,000 there. And then April, again, not nearly as much. So this could be alluding to this news actually being dropped within roughly the next 14 days or so. So in the next 2 weeks, we might get some of this news. So this could definitely be a play. But it is a chase right now, especially on the shorter time frames. Going into the biggest option trades of the day, the biggest was selling a call. Overall, it was 60% bullish. There was a lot more low premium call options that came in right here. So the $3, 218, that was definitely a hot chain. It was actually the most active chain of the day. This multi-leg strategy that we already talked about, some more selling of the calls, but it's all calls being traded, which is good. The highest open interest increase were some of these 218 calls as well as the 218 puts. Max paying for 218 is $2.5. So that is a risk. We're trading above that right now at around $3 per share. And there's definitely some gamma exposure to the upside, although it is not super significant. So the gamma squeeze is less likely, although it could totally happen. It's just less likely with a float being about 400,000. And the option chain we're seeing right here is not super extreme. So that's about it, my friends. That's the Senseonics analysis. I do think it's slightly overbought still at $3 per share, but I plan on eating this thing up around $2.75. If you guys want my buy and sell alerts for this stock, make sure you guys check out Hootmoney trade alerts, first link in the description below. It's all my buy and sell alerts, no matter what the stock is, whether it's Senseonics, bbig, Progenity, any of the stocks that I play. You get my buy and sell alerts using those Hootmoney trade alerts. Anyways, that's about it, guys. Check out Moomoo if you like free money. $1 to get up to $7,000 in free stock. And I'll be seeing you guys next time. It is looking promising with Senseonics. See ya!